Yes, hello. Welcome, everybody, and welcome. And thank you all for being here today with us here at the Netherlands Pavilion. We're very happy that you're all here today. I'm Famke, and I just finished my Bachelor of Industrial Design Engineering. And for the past half year, I've been the Emergence Programmer of Emergence Delft, and I will be your host this morning. And today we're here with Emergence Delft, a student team from Delft Technological University of Delft. But before we jump into that, I would like to give the word to Aino Jansen, the project director of the Netherlands Pavilion. Can you please come to the stage? Thank you.
Thank you very much. And a very warm welcome to our pavilion. As Famke already said, I'm the project director responsible for the whole Dutch participation at the Expo. That means that the pavilion is here, but also we have our programming, and I will explain a bit more about that later on. Just something, I'm very happy you brought this artwork here, and this is apparently not the first time, because also during our National Day, the 22nd of May, after our National Day, I have to say, you showed this in another part of Osaka, and also great to have it here now in our pavilion. And that's also what expos are about. We want to showcase innovations, artworks, etc., from the Netherlands, and so it fits all very well in our programming. Perhaps just something about our, the expo in general and our participation and the pavilion. First, starting with the expo. So the expo is here on Yumeshima Island, and you also have seen, I guess, the ring, which is the largest wooden structure worldwide. And the Expo organization is expecting 28 million of visitors at the Expo so far, because what was it? The 13th of July, we had our midterm review, so to say, because that was 3 months. We were halfway, and then 12 million people visited the Expo. But I was understand 60 million tickets have been sold, so I hope they will reach their 28 million people visitors. Although I have to say it's quite full already, so I think it's enough. And speaking about our pavilion, tomorrow we will welcome our 500,000, this number of visitors. So then we have reached our number of 500,000 visitors in our pavilion. So that's also something to celebrate. Something about our participation, our pavilion. We are here in this pavilion, which has been designed by Thomas Rau. Thomas Rau is a German architect, but he's living already for many years in the Netherlands. And he's the top of the bill in circular construction. And perhaps also, I'm mentioning circularity. And for us also, it's very important to be circular. Also because expos are about 6 months of expo, and then everybody dismantles its pavilion, and then it's all, what was happening then. And for us, it was very important to have a sort of second purpose for our pavilion. And we are also happy that during our National Day, a letter of intent was signed with Pasona. That's a Japanese human HR company who are going to reuse this pavilion on Awaji Island. And Awaji Island is opposite to Kobe. You have this large bridge, and that's the island where it will be reused. Also good to mention that Thomas Rau is working with the Madaster. And Madaster is a material passport to ensure that all the material which is used in this pavilion will be reused. So every piece of the pavilion, every screw, every part is registered to make sure that it will be reused. Something other issues about the pavilion, because you see all these waves, as we call it, and that symbolizes water. And the story which we are telling in our pavilion is about water, because the Netherlands has been struggling with water many centuries. And the story which we're telling is that the struggle, but also that we start to live with water, and now that we are using it for innovations. Because expos are all about challenges which we are facing as a mankind. And then you have to think about sustainability, aging societies, energy transition, etc. And we are also using this water. And then you have this orb, and that we call a man-made sun. You have seen it probably. And there is also the connection with water and energy, so we can use it for hydrogen. What else? We have these waves, and these waves are 4,025 meters long. And this year we are celebrating with Japan 425 years of bilateral relations. So these numbers come back in this length. And another feature which is interesting to mention, that the diameter of the orb is the same length as the diameter of the Tower of the Sun. And the Tower of the Sun was the symbol of the Expo in 1970. And that was actually the first Expo in Asia, also in Osaka. Then we have the programming, because for us, actually, it's even more important to participate in an expo to strengthen our bilateral, because it's a good reason way to strengthen our bilateral relation with Japan. And that's in the economic, political, and cultural way. Therefore, we have been developing a programming for during these 6 months of Expo with more than 100 activities. And this is one of it. And I'm really happy that it also fits very well in our program, also in our main theme, Common Ground. For example, some of the highlights of our programming was the opening of our Prime Minister. And he also signed a strategic partnership with Prime Minister Ishiba of Japan, to strengthen our bilateral relation with Japan in all these fields which I just mentioned. Another important, really highlight was our king visiting the Expo, also accompanied by the Ministry of Economic Affairs and the Ministry of Foreign Trade. And you were there as well with your artwork. And next to that, we also had 6 trade missions here, many cultural events. The Rotterdam Philharmonic Orchestra was here. And when we were halfway, we had 55 activities, and the second half will be even more. So still a way to go. And I also wish you good luck today with your event, and I hope you will also enjoy later on the tour in our pavilion. So thank you very much, and success today with your event.
Thank you, Arno, for your introduction about the Netherlands Pavilion. And also thank you for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs for having us here today. Thank you for the opportunity. We're really glad that we can exhibit here today in the pavilion, as well as organize 2 panel discussions. I would also like to thank TNO in order for us to being able to have this event here today. So thank you so much. Joram Vos is also here available, attending today. We came all the way from the Netherlands, now in Japan. And for the past week, we've been trying to spread the Emergence mission in Japan. So, for example, we've already been exhibiting or speaking at the Symposium of Science Tokyo, as well as giving workshops at the Knowledge Capital. But today we're here at the Netherlands Pavilion for our main event. And in a minute, I will give the microphone to our founder, Angela Hanna. And after that, I will introduce all the panelists to you here today. We will have 4 different panelists with all 4 different kinds of perspectives. And then we will have a panel discussion with this theme, how can art contribute to a common understanding around emerging technologies? And I think all these perspectives will give a really interesting view on that topic. After that, we will get a tour of the beautiful Netherlands Pavilion Arno just talked about. And then we will come all back here during a networking lunch, maybe to see if we have found common ground during the panel discussions. And we can discuss all the nice ideas and perspectives that we've gathered today during the lunch with some Japanese and Dutch foods. So for now, I would like to ask Angela to the stage.
Thank you, Famke, for the kind introduction, and thank you, Enno, for, I don't know where you are. For the warm welcome. So, good morning. I've titled my presentation today, The Pursuit of Emergence Within Organization. And in the next 15 minutes, I'll tell you how the 4 lessons we have learned within this pursuit. How we went from wondering if people want to join our student team to exhibiting all over the Netherlands, at festivals, museums, at conferences in Europe, even to His Majesty, the King Willem Alexander, to here with you today on the Dutch Pavilion of the World Exhibition in Osaka, Japan. And the story starts with a natural phenomenon, one that keeps on inspiring me. And let's look at it together. Let's look at this single bird. If its goal is to fly from point A to B and achieves that goal, we can call it effective. Now add a few more birds. They now fly in a V formation, able to fly longer distances, and this would make them a more efficient system. Add a couple more birds. They now move as one, able to cross oceans, navigate storms, confuse predators, and not because they were guided by a leader, but because the way they position themselves relative to each other. And this unexpected behavior, this collective intelligence, that's what the concept of emergence is. So how do we then pursue emergence, not in nature, but in organizations, which brings me to the first lesson, see the system, not just the parts. And I'll tell you the story how we came up with this idea. It's December 2022. I was halfway in my internship at an art and tech festival, and I was having a lot of fun. I was producing some works for artists and even making my own works for the festival itself. And at the same time, a close friend of me, Lars Geluk, was also doing an internship at an art and tech festival in Amsterdam. And one late afternoon, we had a conversation of how lucky we felt. We were in a space where artists were questioning the systems around us and engineers bringing those visions to life. And both of us being students from the University of Technology, we felt this gap. We were immersed in this environment of engineering and innovation, but we felt that we were rarely questioned and barely communicated. So together with two more friends, Nora Overhuis and Suus Bout, we were curious about other institutions that were combining this art and technology. And we read about these very interesting institutes. Maybe you know them, like Xerox PARC, a printing company back in the days. And they came up with the first personal computer, or we had Philips, a Dutch company, used to have this team called NotLab, and they came up with all of these things like CD-ROMs and the floppy disk, and of course the most famous one, MIT Media Lab. And so, all of them had something in common. They were working with artists, designers, and engineers and scientists and putting them into the same lab. That's what we wanted. And that's the gap we missed in our university. So at that time, we also were curious if other students were interested in this. So we designed a poster and we plastered it all over the university and nearby art schools, asking if people were interested in the space between art and technology, and if they want to question or reflect on the systems around us. And people responded. 300 responses in the first 2 weeks, which gave us the proper motivation to work on this. So then we come to a second lesson, to build a space where curiosity is not only encouraged, but also facilitated. We went to the TU, the Technical University, and asked if we could have a space as a student team there. And we were talking with senior tech professors with deep engineering backgrounds. And as you probably can imagine, it's not really easy to explain what art has to do in a University of Technology. They asked us, what does art have to do with advanced technology? Which was a really good question, and fair enough. So and they gave us a long list of things we also needed to work out, like mission statements and team structures and project proposals. And we came back to our pitch, which we had to do twice, by the way, and answer it with why technical advancement need art. Which brings me to September 2023, because they gave us a chance and we could start with our first team, with 22 students of the TU Delft and 10 from the Royal Academy of the Arts in The Hague, all with the same mission. And we are artists, designers, and engineers collaborating on collaborating on creating new experiences to communicate complex technologies to normal people. At that time, we thought we were just creating a space, but something happens when something unexpected happens when you combine all of these fields. The questions that were asked were a bit different, and you start to see systems differently. If we go back to the birds of the beginning, we don't understand totally how this choreography works. It looks like chaos, but it is complexity, because these are invisible rules we cannot immediately decode. And this complexity invites interpretation. So, for example, where a birdwatcher might see elegance, a pilot might see danger, a city dweller might see beauty, and the other ones might see noise or droppings. These are same systems and different lenses, which brings me to, and this goes the same for our technical advancements. These are all engineered or designed from a specific vision from one company, for example, but they have impact on different layers of our interconnected society. But we don't always understand what this connection is, just like we don't think of the pilot when we see a flock of birds. And now, more than ever, we must address this urgency, because technology is going very fast. It has more impact on our life. Everything that was dumb and disconnected is now learning and intelligent, and these technical disruptions have become the new normal. So it's important for us to be able to reflect on these technologies. But here's the thing. They're also becoming more difficult to understand. Let's take a simple example of this. Let's talk about the medium of music we listen to. Back then, we used to understand how our record players worked. A vinyl sending an analog signal to an amplifier to a speaker. Now, Spotify is choosing playlists for me, recommending artists exactly to my likings. And this is not something necessarily bad. I think these technologies can be quite useful, otherwise they won't be designed. But if we don't understand a algorithm like Spotify algorithms, we cannot question these systems. French philosopher Bruno Latour predicted this a long time ago. And he said the way that scientific and technological work make itself invisible by its own success. When a machine runs efficiently and a matter of fact is settled, one needs to only focus on its inputs and outputs and not on its internal complexity. Thus, paradoxically, the more science and technology succeeds, the more opaque and obscure they become. And what Mr. Latour is describing here is the black box of technology, one where we can understand the inputs. In the previous example, that would be the music I generally listen to, and we can understand the output, the generated playlist. But the decision-making algorithm, the black box, that is unclear for me. Blackboxing is problematic. Why? If we cannot understand a part of the system, we can never understand the whole. And it keeps us from questioning this relationship we have with these technologies. So, as students from TU, we encountered some other type of black boxes, and I've prepared some example questions for you from these type of questions we ask ourselves. Like, for example, what the effect of decrypting data might have on privacy, or how soft robotics might change the way we see robots. Sorry. And maybe how the role of the teacher might change if we over-rely on algorithmic correction methods. Even if you're an expert on these topics or find them now extremely vague, one thing becomes clear. There is no simple answer, because every institution, every organization will have a different answer because they simply have different interests. And they don't only address an emerging technology, they're also addressing a societal impact it might have. So the question then becomes what are the implications of not understanding these complex technologies? So where do we find ourselves here, and what exactly is our responsibility? For us as individuals who make use of these systems, for us as technical students who help develop them, or us as members of society who vote on people making regulations out of them. Therefore, we must ask ourselves the questions. How can we come up with new solutions if we don't understand their complexity? So this is exactly the urgency we as Emergence respond on. And the question we therefore answer is, how can we make these complex technologies more approachable? Well, our answer is through art. Art can be the way we can draw people back in, because art has the ability to provoke ethical questions and stimulate discussions, and you'll experience it when you walk through our installation that's in the back today. But art has also another role here. It has also ability to inspire new technology. Oh. So how do we as Emergence then play around with this reflection and invention side of the art? Well, in the last 4 semesters, we have developed over 8 original works, all addressing a specific complex technology. For example, Unseen Echoes worked on visualizing the hidden layer of the internet, which are the AI bots, social bots, that have been proven to shape public debate. Or maybe Indifference, where they started with an intersection between sound and algorithms and came up with a way to communicate communicate generative AI by making it to something experienceable. Or maybe Am I Alive, where they work with a Case Decker lab and created something, questioned themselves if we can make something living with unliving material. And of course, the one you are here for, Coexist, that's not only trying to explain quantum, but actually to make this translation and experience with societal polarization. So what we do with Emergence, whereas a traditional artist might use a paintbrush, we research and develop our own tools, our new media, and communicate these complexities by making them into something to be experienceable, by making new media art. But to do so, you need the right people. You need people that can recognize a specific societal impact. You can need people who can understand the technical advancement. And you need people that can actually translate it in a meaningful way. So how real emergence looks like is something like this. Oh, that went too quick. Yes. These are 89 students that have not only contributed, but refined, reshaped, and extended the Emergence mission from over 8 different academies or universities. We have over 40 disciplines in just these last 4 semesters. In our team, an electrical engineer is working side by side with a philosopher. And much like the birds from the start, we too think you should be fluent in your role. Others writing code, engineers speculating. And each year we also reconfigure it. So not only in our project topics, but also in our structures, a whole operational layer who's working on outreach, in creating events for the public, giving lessons to children about these emerging technologies. Yeah. And what unites us is this curiosity and feeling the sense of responsibility. Yeah. Yeah, responsibility. We like, I wanted to say something here about, oh yeah. As students, of course, we work towards a more desirable future. And as Emergence, we understand that it's not about seeming the smartest in the room. It's about creating tools to create common ground. Which brings me to my last part, and that is, what if every university would have an Emergence? We'll be raising a generation that's not just building stuff, but they shape things but building things and shape them in a way that has meaning to our lives. And as students, we are digital natives. And indeed, like Marshall McLuhan said, we have been shaped by this tool. And now we're trying to shape them back in return. Emergence has taught us that the future won't be designed by experts in their lanes, but by the ones that dare to cross them. So then for you, if you ever feel this mix between responsibility and curiosity tugging at you, please follow it. Because right there in the intersection of different people, different disciplines, and different questions, that's where the magic happens and emergence occurs, where the total is greater than the sum of its components. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Angela, for your nice presentation, introducing us, and also maybe giving a nice introduction to our panel discussion already. As you just told, we aim to find common ground between different disciplines, and that's also what we want to do with our panel discussion. But before we jump into that, I want to give everybody a little break by looking who's sitting next to you, in front of you, or behind you. Maybe there are also people from different disciplines. So talk to each other a little bit, and maybe you can learn something from each other before we start the panel.
Het was wel shaky. Ja?
Ja, echt een goed verhaal.
Goed gedaan, Ans. Ja?
Goede tijd ook.
Ja,
Volgens mij.
onder de 15 volgens mij.
Ik denk het ook, ja. Ik heb de tijd houden, maar...
Snap ik. Maar je zat echt zo... Oké, ja, top. Ik wil even... nee, dat je op een stukje van de university ging zo... Maar goed. Juist, dat was zo mooi.
En dus op stage route, even zeggen, het is de eerste op stage route. Dat is dan
Ik moest wel... Ja, dat is waar. Maar ik wist... Can I sit next to you? Ja, oh, sorry. Ik moet zo even... Hoe laat is het eigenlijk? Lopen we rondje op nog stemmen? Niet, hè? Nee, loop een beetje achter. Dat is niet erg. Thank you so much. Dus we hebben 10 minuten voor panel. En you're gonna be on the panel, right? Of we hebben een timer nodig. Ja, we hebben een timer nodig. Soort van, maar dat is ook, want we hebben lang genoeg voor het panel. Dan wil jij zo voor het panel. We hebben even een timer nodig. Yes. Nee, maar meteen lab. Ja, so interesting. Ik heb gewoon, als we een vraag begint, als we beginnen met 3 onderwerpen, wil ik gewoon voor mezelf weer dat we nog 2 minuten hebben. Want dan ga ik een beetje afronden door naar het volgende.
Hoe lang heb je erover?
Ja, 10 minuten.
Volgens mij, maar ik heb het geprobeerd.
Ja, het is like from TNO en TU Delft Research Group, right? Ja. Oké, dus dan moet je even naar mij zo. En dat collaborate and bring it to you. Oké. Oh, I don't do it too.
Okay, thank you for this little break. I hope you've all learned something maybe from the person that you've maybe not met before, because that's in the end maybe the reason why we're all here today. And with that, I think we can go to the panel discussion. And today the panel discussion has the theme, how can ours be a common understanding when talking about emerging technologies? And first, I would like to ask Professor Yuko Hasegawa to the stage, a visiting professor at Kyoto University, the former director of the 21st Century Museum of Contemporary Art, the program director of art and design at the International House of Japan, honorary professor at Tokyo University of the Arts. So thank you. Could you please come on stage? You guys sit here? Yes. So for the second panelist, I would like to ask to the stage Mr. Hayashi, director and member of the board of the Magawa Corporation, facilitator of the Japan CTO Forum, and also professor and director at Hiroshima University. So thank you. Yes, for our third panelist, I would like to be here with me on the stage, Willemijn van den Berg. Willemijn van den Berg has a bachelor's degree in industrial design engineering and has also been the operations manager of Emergence 3 and 4 for the past year. So thank you for being here. And then last, but definitely not least, Professor Takeuchi. Takeuchi has been a professor at the Department of Electronic Science and Engineering at Kyoto University and also a researcher at the Central Lab of Mitsubishi Electronics in Japan in 1993. So thank you, Professor Takeuchi, for being here. So before we start the panel discussion, every panelist will introduce him or herself, tell us a little bit more about where they're here. So I would like to start with Professor Yuko Hasegawa.
Yes. Hello, everyone. Good morning. So my name is Yuko Hasegawa. I'm just introduce very quickly what am I, because today is I just look at very beautiful installation. Many congratulations, and it's should be a more kind of darker room with a more kind of nice condition to the curators. Just a little bit advice, but I think this condition is working quite well. But because today is it's quite interesting how art becomes a mediator of the sensing of the invisible. So it's also very scientific research also result at the same as I'm kind of curator and art historian, also visiting professor at the Graduate School of Management at Kyoto University. So that here is Professor Sarves, and he's just kindly invited me to give a kind of course. That course is first and happened in Kyoto University. It's a Graduate School of Management, yes, because it's very important nowadays and what the function of the curators. And this course is just investigate and research what the curator theories and also and kind of practice also related to management. It's connected to social, so real economical world is how art is. We are kind of facilitator, also agent is. So this is ideas. Also that I just very quickly to talking about what I have done, and because first my exhibition and related to technology and art is an MIT List Visual Center a long time ago, Sensorium, that was the show. It also make a very interdisciplinary exhibition in Contemporary Museum Tokyo. It's a design and touch the world. It's very funny title, Bunny Smash. And also unforgettable exhibition, Carl Suez ZKM 2016. It's because also the Angela mentioned about Bruno Latour, and he's my mentor. We met in that exhibition. It's a kind of globales, new sensorium executive parallel modernization. I just collected all the kind of non-Western artists and also who just connected art and technology. That's what the show is. Because Bruno just give me some comment. Yuko, you are very good at installation. Just tell me how you installed. I can give you my lectures about what my thought is and very what art and technology going to be Anthropocene time. So he became my mentor. So that was. Unfortunately, he passed away, but always I'm one of the children and Bruno Latour, that is. But it's quite important nowadays, and many kind of people also particularly working in the business asking me how they just try to bring that kind of art thinking, also the sensory learning, the methodology into their own business, because they are also kind of IT business, because they're much interested in developing technology. Also, and that a black box, as Angela says, because a lot of the new development and technology could be become we're blind to us, but we don't know anything about what happened inside black boxes. So in that case, it's very important to just open the black box, or different sense of the touch, what's happening in the world. It's through the technological investigation, also our physical kind of investigation, both in that way. So this is a bit sorry, just a very long time, because this is very sensory. That the world is not made of the things, but the relations. Bruno Latour says, yeah, this is something. The very question is very simply because when you look at this kind of artworks, and artworks not directly explanation about, not illustration of what the research is, because art is always bring at abstraction, also metaphysical and metaphorical interpretation is. That also very easy to talk to your mind, also sensorium, also feeling, also ethics and also an ethical mind. So this is very important. But act function is, it's not kind of simple translation what is a result, what is a fact is. It's quite important, it's a way of the thinking, perhaps a way of being. Creator in the context, not simply organization object in the space, it's expanding upon the idea that position is not only physical, it's social, ethical, epistemological. This is my curatorial ideas. Also, I just taking a methodology and actor network theories and through my curatorial kind of methodology that I just want to talk a bit more about afterwards. But simply, let's look. This is Olafur Eliasson, and Danish artist. You know this artist, guys? You know, he's super popular. Also, this come from my exhibition in Tokyo, where I was working on, chief curator at Contemporary Museum Tokyo. The piece is glass discs in the work, hanging the ceilings. He put filters on one side, because that filters allowing light of the opposite color to pass through when that continuously changing the cyan, magenta, yellow shapes can be the walls overlapped, mixed to produce tones and red, green, or blue, the completely different type things. This is a quite similar type of the logic, and this piece is because people just enjoy very much. It's constantly and the colors have been changing from their position or they're moving. So this is magic, but not only kind of beauty. People understand from their position, from their occasional timings, and all the kind of world have been seen different way. So this is also kind of very much metaphysical things. First is I have only 5 minutes and I have very quickly jumping and sorry, and just ladies and coming up to how much I have to have. 2 minutes, something?
1 minute left.
1 minute, okay. So sorry, I just quickly show because this is kind of plants, and he's an expert here, the plant scientist, and because they are thinking about how the plants have the kind of neuron also, and some kind of spirit of the plants have the intelligence. That's his ideas. This is a kind of put on a sensor to big trees, these trees and just giving a signal how they live. So that means, and this is very beautiful kind of, moving. And sorry, can you see it? Moving. This is a way to how your big trees talking to you, because trees never move, but you cannot see any sign from them. But trees and always talking to you, and also to something kind of telling about what the nature is. This comes from the big trees and in Kanazawa, 1,000 years old trees talking to you. That's very moving. Because this is the system. Sorry, I just quickly see it. If you have scientific background, you can read and very easy to understand. Oh, this is another way to presentation. It's a light and a kind of dot is coming through a very beautiful way. To this is other different type of the presentation interface in Thai. These are another beautiful kind of pieces. So they have this is air filtering, because all those kind of system to just filtering in such a big room, 200 square meters, that air filtering with this, and they're using a system of the sand and also soils and also underground and also plant itself. It's working well. Sorry, it's very quickly. ごめんね. Sorry. And this is Taurus, and she's Taurus, and also using the smells, and she's just taking a lot of kind of smells and different kind of places, just to reproduce the smell, kind of a different smell landscape background. You can see one of the pavilions and her work is. Sorry, I just quickly do it. すいません. Hi, Yena Stella, and she using an amazing and biographical also and computing and the process, because this is a very weight and she's very kind of organic, like bacteria, and she using bacteria to have just quickly to searching for certain point in using a map of the Tokyo city. So this is quite a miracle. Also Kamitani and Kyoto University, he's my colleagues, and also we're gonna make a big kind of presentation, with Mr. Kamitani also as a professor in Kyoto University, interdisciplinary presentation. That was a kickoff project, our course. So this he working with Pierre Hugues, very famous French artist, and Pierre Hugues just presented AI, how AI to transform what our kind of senses visual, how AI is thinking about and how it is interpreted the human brain. So this is a vision. Hi, sorry. I quickly. She do, and she just making a very fantastic presentation. She make a kind of plastic, also microorganism, just and kind of dissolving these kind of plastics, you can see how this new invented microorganism just solve our problem. It's a plastic really problematic. This the artist showing the future, how we can deal with this kind of plastic problem is. It's my Marcos Barotti. He's my hero very recently because I'm working at Coral Institute in kind of other my kind of research is because coral is so very kind of had a very sound, very healing kind of those environment. So all the kind of animals also living things come to the coral because not only kind of their kind of biological function, it's also sonic effect because sonic effect is very important. So that's why he just make damaged kind of areas and put on this kind of sculpture, bring up the new kind of activation to by the sonic kind of colored effect. This is very beautiful kind of project. Also,
Yeah.
it's,
Thank you very
this
much.
is the end of my presentation. Thank you very much. Sorry, this is all my project I had done before.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Hasegawa-san, for giving your interesting perspective as a curator. And I think it will also be very interesting to hear more about that later during the networking discussion. But first, during the panel discussion, it will be very interesting perspective. But then we have Hayashi-san, who will give a different perspective during the panel discussion. And he will tell you a little bit more about that first.
All right. Thank you very much. And I am Ryuichi Hayashi. I'm very glad to be here. It's a excellent experience for me because I'm a businessman. This is the kind of my activities now. It's a interesting combinations. First, I'm a director of Tomoega Corporation as a business person. And I'm working for this company about 9 years. Previously, I was a DuPont company, the American company, 29 years. So always I'm working for business. The second, Hiroshima University, is a very different field. But I'm a manager of the director of the Digital Manufacturing Education and Research Center. So again, this is the industrial and technical part. And my major is a polymer science, but also technology is my interest, and how technology be a value to the society. That is my work. Then the third one is a Japan CTO Forum. The CTO stands for Chief Technology Officers. And this forum consists of about 50 companies, mainly the Japanese companies, and senior people responsible for technology. And those people getting together every year and setting the theme to study. And I'm actually more than 10 years, I'm a member and a facilitator of this organization. And lastly, the Council for Science and Technology. This is the Ministry of Education, Science, and Culture, Sports. This work is developing the policy for the innovation. So those all combined in myself. But to me, it's all, how to say, synergies there. And so why I'm here is because of this I don't say problem. This is a challenges for me, and challenges for Japan CTO Forum. The last year we have started the discussion about artificial intelligence, and this is one of the example of advancing high tech, the generative AI, how that impact the people and society. And actually, that is the matter for the corporation because we are producing a product or solutions to the people or society. And how to create a value is how can we understand the value of the people, right? So artificial intelligence impact to the people's value. So what is that? So start thinking about that implications. And actually, we focus on art. What is the role of the art in this scheme is maybe to communicate the meaning of the high tech to social. Maybe art is the one, not only just a language, the art expression, the emotional part is important. Okay, so we need to understand the art to understand the impact to the people society. But later, we start understanding, okay, it's even more important how we can capture the understanding of people or value. We also need to utilize the art to communicate to the society. So the yellow arrows is a matter. So this is the second part. So we created those kind of questions and challenges. This is a little bit wordy slide, but first is the relevance of high tech to the humans. That is one. And the second is the values in society where high tech and human coexist. The important part is the coexisting of those things and the implications to the businesses, how we can respond to the society and people. Okay, so that is my major work right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Hayashi-san, for your introduction, and also funny that coexist is also important in your work field, and the name of the artwork resembles that really well, so that's a funny resemblance. Then, Willemijn-san, would you also be so kind to introduce yourself?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Willemijn, and I'm the current or the past operations manager of this year of Emergence. And the operations department is responsible for hosting events, also for the outreach of the team and financial stability. So I will be bringing in that perspective of our team, and I'm very honored that I may represent our team here today. I have a background in industrial design. I finished my bachelor's, and I have a minor in cultural anthropology and development sociology. So I've seen that intersection between social studies and technical studies. So I will be talking about that today. Thank you.
Thank you, Willemijn, for introducing yourself to the audience. Last we have Takeuchi-san, and Takeuchi-san will introduce himself, but also a little bit more about the exhibition that he will be hosting himself next month at the exhibition. So maybe if you're here next month, it's fun to visit, but he will tell you more about it.
Okay, thank you. So maybe I'm going to speak about our exhibition, The Wonderful Nature of Photons and Photonic Quantum Sensing. Firstly, I'm a professor in Kyoto University, and for about 30 years, I have been conducting experimental research on photonic quantum computers on optical quantum sensing using photons. And the reason why I'm here is because Professor Hasegawa asked me if I'm interested in joining this workshop, and I have been trying my best to communicate with ordinary people, including students and small children. And I would like to learn something from this workshop. That is my intention. And then I'm going to show you our exhibition next month. And here, actually, I also invited Mao Imaizu, Mao Imaizu-san is over there, and she's our curator, as a head of our curator team about this exhibition. And I'm also be here with my student, Jocelyn Carr, over there. And indeed, this exhibition is called Entangled Moment, Quantum Earth Universe Times Art, and the date is from August 14 to 20th. And Expo Messe Wasei is next to this pavilion, right? And organizers is the Cabinet Office and Mixed. And actually, the whole this exhibition produced Miss Tomoe Moriyama. I heard that she collaborated with Professor Hasegawa some years ago, many years ago, yeah. And indeed, this is a big exhibition using 2,000 square meters. And it consists of some area, and indeed, big area, maybe around 1/4 is donated for science times art. And there are many beautiful scientific work. Actually, not scientists, but artists design and show their artistic works there, Science Times Art. And also, my group in Kyoto University shows some experimental devices using area of around 100 square meters. Okay, so this is our exhibition, maybe in 3 weeks. And the title is The Wonderful Nature of Photons and Photonic Quantum Sensing. And the concept is experience the real phenomenon of quantum wonders and realize its application in the near future. And the concept, we really want to show the real ones. Not showing just YouTube videos or something like that, but I really want to show the real entangled photons and very strange nature caused by entangled photons. And again, the head of curator team is Maoi Maizumi, sitting there. And this is the introductory video. And could you turn on the sound?
世界は光で溢れています。
And English capture it here. And Hankyu
段
Railways.
差と光を弱くしていくと、一つの光子になります。光子は光のエネルギーの最小単位。光子は一つ、二つと数えられます。たくさんの光子は明るい光。少ない光子は暗い光。光子のエネルギーは様々で、それぞれに波長があります。波長が短い方がエネルギーが大きく、波長が長い方がエネルギーが小さくなります。それぞれの波には向き、つまり変更があります。こうして多彩な光ができています。中には同時に生まれた光子があります。この双子の光子には不思議な関係があるんです。この関係を量子もつれと言います。それはこの世界について信じていたことを覆すような関係。光子の不思議な世界を覗いてみましょう。
Thank you. And actually, this is the exhibition, and prologue video is shown in the entrance. And in Zone 2, we developed specially designed experimental devices in collaboration with curators and companies. And then we will introduce 2 attractions inspired the near future quantum sensing devices. One is infrared spectrometers, and the other is optical coherence tomography devices. And for example, we will going to demonstrate, we will show the entangled photons, the images of entangled photons using the real devices at the Expo site. And we developed this experiment setup with the help of my students and colleagues. And the second one is we will show the interference of physical processes. And maybe you might have read some scientific fictions in our universe, several universes are interfering, right? However, indeed, quantum mechanics suggests that it's real, okay? But almost no one has seen the real phenomena caused by such kind of interference of physical processes or interference of universe, right? And there is a very interesting experiment shown here. When you put 2 photons simultaneously into a half mirror or beam splitter, then surprisingly, both 2 photons are output from either of the side. And we will not see this sort of phenomena. One photon is from left and one photon is right, is completely destructively interfering. And we'll show this phenomena in real. The third one is famous, the test of quantum entanglement. Nobel Prize 2022 is awarded for this experiment. And we will demonstrate using real entangled photon sources and show the violation of varying quality over there. And also, recently we are working hard about the use of quantum entanglement and interference with physical processes to make very special device, very compact and tiny. That is infrared spectrometers. And so infrared spectrometers are used in many chemical companies or industries, but it's very big and requires a kind of AC sources. However, if we can make it very tiny and compact and mobile, then such kind of device could be used in many different fields, including life science and environmental sensing, right? And we will show our use of entangled photons and quantum interference for making such kind of devices real. Okay, so this is a summary. We invite visitors of all ages, from elementary school students to adults, to experience the wonderful nature of photons and feel close to quantum science and technology. And I'd like to discuss how we are able to make those kind of normal people understood or feel something interesting about such kind of interesting nature of quantum. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Taguchi, for telling us a little bit more about the exhibition, and it looks really interesting. And now that you've all introduced yourself, it is time for the panel discussion, where you can all share your perspective on the question: how can art contribute to common understanding around emerging technologies? And for the first part of this panel discussion, we will investigate the growing gap in understanding these emerging technologies that we have been talking about for a while now. But I would like to ask the audience a question, because when we talk about emerging technologies, there may be differences in accepting them in the Netherlands and Japan. So there are people from different backgrounds here. So is there anybody who could share a little bit more about how emerging technologies are being accepted or approached to in the Netherlands? Yes.
It depends on the field, I would say, because at the TU Delft, you see that we can all use AI with our courses. It's allowed, it's even motivated to use. Whereas at other universities that are more cultural, they prohibited it.
Thank you. I think that's really interesting perspective already. Is there someone from Japan who would like to give his or her view on the question? Yes.
Well, in a sense, and individual wise, we are very keen on adapting new technologies, and we are not so afraid of AIs or robots. Thanks to the manga, comics, and those things. This is a kind of personal interpretations, but societally, we are very conservative. For instance, take for instance the electric vehicles, and the infrastructure is not well developed. So there are certain continuity in as a societal wise, but individually we're very open to new technologies. That's my observation.
Thank you so much for giving us also the difference between individuals and society. Hayashi-san, would you maybe add something? How businesses in Japan are reacting to innovations that they develop in Japan, and maybe how citizens in Japan react to the innovations that businesses develop?
Well, the good example is the humanoids. Like the humanoid is Japanese really easy to accept to co-working, coexisting, and as a partner. But in the Western world, it says as a narrative, it's more like a servant, right? So as a innovation is not a technology matter. It's more like a economical growth, right? So the one company tried to develop a good humanoid, then try to tuning the characters as a servant or partner. It's a big matter to design the product, right? But also that changes when people talk each other, Japan is really the partnership with the human right. It's nice. Then the Western world might change. We need to respond to those kind of changes. So it's really the big, how to say, challenges for the corporation or the business side of view. Okay.
Thank you. Yeah, in the end, it will be a collaboration between not only businesses, but also between different disciplines. Hasegawa-san, would you react to this? How the artistic world is maybe reacting to emerging technologies that are currently developing in society really quickly. You already gave some examples of artists that try to do this. So how would you say that the artistic world is doing this at the moment?
Yeah, because we have to think about more ecological thinking because all those new digital is DX is around us. So in a way, it's what kind of interface, what kind of relations, and we have to create with them. So it's quite important. For instance, like Mr. Hayashi talking about Android, how Android could be our neighbors or just our tools. That's also question this. Those kind of highly developed biotechnologies, the genealogies, and how human beings create an artificial kind of heart. You just see it, and it's a pavilion in Japan, so it's quite amazing things. This is something how accept those kind of technological products. So it's also ethical question is how human alliance is. So it's always this is a question because also the artists are thinking about responding, but the creativity point is still left after highly developed AI. Also, lots of the new materialities come up to something more kind of strong impact than artist individual work. So this is really kind of sometimes competing and something struggling. So in that case, it's very important how artists also think about the collaboration with also scientists, also sociologists and also anthropologists. It's very very important to this kind of cross-disciplinary collaboration because that's why this kind of emerging progress is quite amazing, also inspiring for me because all the kind of 80 kind of people working together, how collaborate is a point is because also mutual collaboration, also those kind of collective intelligence, also interdisciplinary, that's going to be very kind of big kind of topic for the artists upcoming. So this is my answer.
Thank you so much. Willemijn, could you maybe add something or reply to Hasegawa-san? How these emerging technologies are accepted in the Netherlands? The audience already gave you a little hints already, but maybe how does it happen at the TU Delft?
Well, I first want to go into what Mr. Hayashi said about the humanoid, about the robots. When I speak to my peers, usually when they lose a package or something, they need to chat with like a bot online. And Dutch people try the fastest way to avoid chatting with the bot. So how can we get a telephone number to quickly talk to a real person instead of a chat bot? We don't like it. So we rather have a real person. So I think it's very interesting to see that difference because like was said, the Japanese are maybe considered much more conservative. But I see technology adapted everywhere for the smallest of things and very smoothly also. Everything is very well thought out, which is very curious to see. And in the Netherlands, I guess then we're much more tempered compared to the Japanese. And we talk about that a lot during my studies, during design studies. We talk about how people would accept technology. And I think that's a very different skill that we're looking at the Netherlands compared to Japan. I think it's different, but I think we can learn a lot from each other both ways. We needed to do like a facial recognition when we came in here today, and I felt a little bit uncomfortable at first with facial recognition, but everyone here accepts it, and we look at privacy differently in the Netherlands, and yeah.
Yes, Takuchi-san, do you maybe want to react to that? I saw you nodding sometimes.
Okay, so excuse me, but my point is a bit different from former speakers, but about the growing gap in understanding and technologies, I'd like to point out that, even among scientists and among engineers, the gap is growing. For example, here, Professor Fuji, he's very famous person about quantum computer is here. And I'm also working on quantum physics, right? And we learned quantum physics. He's in Kyoto University, engineering, graduate school of engineering, and I'm graduate school of science, but we both learned quantum physics. But recently I learned that, in graduate school of informatics, they don't learn quantum physics. So so for such kind of advanced technologies, in some graduate school departments, they have some courses to learn such kind of very deep texts. But next to the department, next to those departments, don't know anything. And such kind of gap is, I have a feeling that, growing extremely rapidly. When I discussed about this problem with the professors in informatics, they said that, there are so many things they have to teach to catch up with the growing speed of AI. There is no room to teach quantum mechanics. But maybe the same thing is true, not just between informatics and, for example, electrical engineering and physics, but many, probably biology, or probably some other departments. So I think art will have some power to solve soften the problem. I just wanted to point out this serious problem. Thank you.
Yeah, it's really interesting that you mentioned that there are almost no time left to teach. No. That it's at universities. It's interesting to hear that they're just so busy and that there's no time left to teach the real quantum mechanics to students. Because in the end, that's probably why a lot of students are here. But I think it's interesting to discuss the role of universities in discussing, the ethics around emerging technologies and also the societal aspect. So I think that's already a nice bridge to the second topic of this panel. How should different societal actors take responsibility for shaping public understanding around emerging technologies? And we just talked a little bit about universities already. So I would actually like to ask the audience again, because there are quite many students in the audience here. So as a student, how would you see the role of universities in explaining these emerging technologies to you, and also maybe the risk or the advantages or the impact of societies? What do you think the role of universities is when discussing this question? Is there somebody who would like to reply to that?
Thank you. I feel like students themselves have a lot of great ideas to initiate to communicate these technologies. So the role of universities maybe be open for these ideas and support the students who come up with these initiatives, because that's the only way, we students can do something and communicate these technologies to the world. And they have a lot of good ideas. And I think that should be their role, support the students with their ideas.
Thank you for giving the view of that. Hasegawa-san, would you like to reply on that? You're also a visiting professor at Kyoto University. How would you see the role of universities in maybe giving students a platform to discover the societal aspect of emerging technologies? How would you see the role of universities and professors?
Yeah. there are several kind of idea which I have because the most important things I have been working at museum for a long time. But museum kind of audience just come to appreciate art, go back. But in terms of the contemporary art, they just started research themselves. But according to the kind of content the artist coins. So in a way, it's it's we can you're just talking about the societal actors. It's a quite important to make something a new type of the institution who mixed kind of museum and also kind of school. So which is very important because now it's when you're talking about the university, but university just kind of workshop also some experience and make something like you can share as a act and also as a kind of also kind of visual the experience because it's very few, but in a way it's it's very important, very high content, also very highly specific and scientific knowledge also, for instance, could be downloaded in a real experience that look at the kind of very touchable, also haftable things and also look at the visual kind of materials. But always when you're talking about inviting the people to the museum, people look at the object things and also look at the data together, discussing. So it's very important to make those kind of platform to sharing visual sensing. It's a kind of new way to navigate the function of the kind of school, also meet up the function of the museum together. So this also in Kyoto University we can do it, and maybe we really have to bring in some nice gallery into the Kyoto University to just ask not to make an exhibition here at Mr. Takeuchi, make an exhibition there to just inviting people, talk and the student, also ordinary people together. So that could be very nice too. It's very important. So this direction.
Yeah, it sounds really interesting to mix like universities and art as a way of teaching students.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe we can all be testing students for that new way of teaching. Willemijn, what would you like? How would you think this new way of teaching would apply to your studies? Maybe.
Yeah, from a student perspective, I think one of the problems universities are facing is that we don't intermingle a lot. So during my team, I've worked interdisciplinary and I've found so many new perspectives on even the same topic. And what you create as a student with different faculties is you create this echo chamber of the same ideas continuing over and over again. And especially within a technical university, we're focused on making things and being innovative and not questioning what we're making all the time. Ethics is a course, but I know it's within my study it's okay popular, but within studies like computer science, I know one of my friends gave the course there. People didn't enjoy it at all. They rather not come. So I think reshaping the way we teach these courses and help people question their own innovations is a very important role for universities. And I think, just like Ms. Hasegawa said, art can play a super interesting role within that gap.
Thank you. That's really interesting. Hayashi-san, would you like to add something to this from a professor at Hiroshima University?
Well, as a university or as a corporation?
Maybe both.
Both.
Yeah.
Both, right. As a university, well, I have a chance to talk to students, younger students, and that time, from my business point of view, I try to share those kind of complex matters and with the emerging technologies. That is very, how to say, get the interest of the students. And that is very interesting experience to me, because as a business person, it's very rare to talk to students, right? But then based on that kind of the discussion, I can get a sense how the younger people or students have the different value regarding the emerging technologies. So that is one. May I talk about the corporation point of view?
Yes, of course.
About 30 years ago, I think you remember that a few of the American companies developed gene-edited corn or soybeans. It's very nice product. It's you can reduce all the fertilizer impacting the environment. Less water is necessary, and the farmers can enjoy more profitability from the gene-edited corn, soybeans. But eventually, what happens? American people and Chinese people accepted. European people refused. The Japanese refused, right? And here is the scientific truth. It's safe. It's very good in many ways, but the people will not accept. Okay, which one is right or wrong? That is not the question. Okay, how people feel about these emerging technologies. If those huge American companies understand the importance of the shaping public understanding, well, business becomes much easier. So that is a point. How we can create a new businesses from emerging technology. That is one point. And also the other point of view, the stakeholders of the corporation. Who is that? Well, maybe the stockholders, the shareholders, the investors, customers, and societies, but also the employee is a very important stakeholders, one of the stakeholders. And with the generative AI, all the working system will be changed next 5 years. And what's the job after 5 years of those employees? It's going to be tremendous changes will be coming. And the social responsibility as a corporation is how we can help the transformation of the workers, employees to the new job. Nobody says the human is not necessary in future. Okay, people, humans needs more to work with AI. But the different skills, how the corporation helps them to transform. So that is one of the social responsibility. That is the discussion with the Siemens senior management, and we had a very interesting discussion last year. So.
Thank you so much. It also sounds that universities and businesses also have some ways to collaborating, because students they are going to go to the business field after some years. So Takeuchi-san, maybe how would you think that businesses and universities could work together?
Actually, I really wanted to comment on that point.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to show some sort of quantum infrared spectroscopy at the Osaka Expo, right? And for that exhibition, I have asked Shimazu Corporation to help us about that section. And Shimazu Corporation is one of the leading company about infrared spectrometers, and they kindly accepted our offer. And now they are very seriously thinking about communicating with ordinary people and show the role of infrared spectrometers and quantum sensing. And I have a feeling that universities or non-profit organizations like Emergence Delft is very important. Because I was an employee of Mitsubishi Electric many years ago, and companies is the most important purpose of companies to make profit, right? So it's very difficult to think about shaping public understanding about such kind of advanced technologies. However, if we universities or non-profit organization or students organization like yours ask them to collaborate or cooperate, they have very open mind, good mind to help us. So I think such kind of the role of us will be very important in future.
Thank you so much. I think that's really interesting, and it's also a really nice bridge to the last topic of this panel discussion already, because we talked a little bit about collaboration already between universities and businesses. So in the last 10 minutes of this panel discussion, we will explore the question: how can meaningful collaboration between art, science, and technology, also in businesses, lead to new forms of innovation, expression, and public engagement? Because Willemijn, we as Emergence, Angela talked about it a little bit already. we try to explain scientific concepts or technologies, but are there also challenges when trying to combine scientific accuracy with artistic expression? How would you say we try to do that?
Thank you. Yes, so much challenges faced when collaborating between artists and engineers. I talked a little bit about this before, but engineers are focused on answering questions and making new innovation, and artists are focused on asking questions, and that leads to friction. But Angela kind of talked about this. Within that friction, it's where something interesting and beautiful happens. So when you step out of your comfort zone and out of your bubble and start to think differently and stand in someone else's shoes, then you can create something interesting and beautiful, just like the Coexist team has. And because of the beauty that can be hidden within quantum technology, which is a very abstract term and an abstract and difficult to understand phenomenon, you can create curiosity, which is very nice. And I think Mr. Takeuchi will probably experience the same thing within his art piece, that because you try to engage children and parents and high school students and everyone, they feel included, and they feel that they can participate in shaping the debate about how these technologies will shape our future.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's indeed hard, but we will all try, I think. But these, you just said that we can use some artistic expressions to explain these technologies. But maybe these artistic perspectives can also contribute to innovation in businesses. So Hayashi-san, would you like to react to that? How artistic perspectives can add some value in innovation in businesses, maybe?
Yeah, so certainly the artificial things help to communicate with people regarding the emerging technology or new product. Well, certainly that's true, but I think the role is beyond that more. The last year, the Japan CTO Forum visited Austria, Linz, Ars Electronica. You guys all know that. And an interesting discussion with them, the CTOs, always we are chasing about the technologies, how to compete with competitors with the new technologies, right? So the lifetime of a technology or a new product is very short, or maybe 1 year, or maybe 3 months. After that, we need to create new technology to beat the other competitors, right? So that is the other way of the collaboration of art and technology and businesses.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Yeah, so art can help in businesses, in universities, but maybe also technology can help in art. So Hasegawa-san, can you give us maybe an example of how you've seen technology has led to maybe new forms of artistic media when curating exhibitions?
Yeah, basically what the function of the art, that bring us some beauty, also comfort, or like attentive. That means very important, give an impact. We just want to, affordance. If something object very kind of looks very beautiful, you really want to use that. Also, even if very difficult to use that, you try to kind of access that. So this is also kind of very much related to desire of the people. Affordance it is, but then it's a power of the art. So in that case, because always thinking about, there are some kind of different kind of point. I just want to also the question to the guys and you're here. So because science, also technology, very high contents. And art is not always a programmer, not only engineering, but the level of the knowledge is completely different. So how the artist access of that, it's really kind of needed a collaboration, because sometimes very important artists engage the very beginning to develop the technology, so they share the process. Also, this is the same as anthropologists. Anthropologists invited the artists come together, go to the Amazon. So that's an artist just look at that, make a drawings, and a science and anthropologist make an interview to engineers. It's a completely different kind of ethnographical approaches, but also research. So, but those are different kind of methodology, different point of views, and bring a more kind of new kinds of insight. So it's very important how collaborate which level is because how just and fill up the gap of the level of the kind of knowledge, also level of the sensitivity, what a human can the beings, also what a human senses, because art is very skillful to understand what how they attract the human kind kind of aesthetically also feeling and sensing emotion. So it's very emotion business, also emotion and kind of the engineering very important nowadays. So and it's this is one point, but the other point is, and also when I'm talking with the kind of design kind of professor is a kind of Royal College of Art, something like that. They are very very famous and speculative design, but also kind of critical design, very beginning. That the designer going to be between artist and also a very practical design is that the beginning. But most of the kind of those kind of speculative designer goes to the ecological research because they try to propose something kind of new kind of solution, also new way of thinking because very artistic mind always how it has a very alternative kind of perspective. That means an imagination because for instance, like I just showing the guys who make special kind of sculpture at the bottom of the sea, make a new kind of sonic environment. This is also ideas and how he just kind of recovers and all the damage the coral, also those kind of environment. That all come from his kind of research of the music, also sound, also sculptural shaped is. But then also talking with those marine biologists, also scientists. This is a very kind of beautiful way. So that's all the kind of also design, also forms and artistic and form kind of makers and thinking for changing an environment. Also try to maybe contribute and how we consider the environment. This is one of the phenomena. These two things I just pointed out.
Thank you so much for giving us your interesting perspective. And I think we can all agree that art can lead to many opportunities in universities, in businesses, in explaining technologies to society, to professors, but also maybe in businesses. It can give us many new ideas. So is there, maybe I would like to end this panel discussion with questions from the audience to the panelists. So are there any questions to the panelists? Yes. Or are there any questions or remarks from the panelists?
Yeah, if possible, I would like to have an opinion from Mao Imaizumi. She is a curator, head of curator team of our exhibition, and she has been struggling about the between scientists and artists and how to make our exhibition or our artistic work for the public engagement. So, Imagine-san, is it possible for you to give us a brief comment?
Yeah, let me ask you questions then, maybe.
Thank you for introducing me. Actually, I have been working in the science communication field for 20 years. So what you are talking about is really the main theme of my field. So it was very interesting, inspiring discussion. And you have been talking about like technology and science all together, but science is something that we can share the perspective, point of view to see the world, and also raising the new questions and also let us think, find the mysterious world. At the same time, art has a kind of same role, I think, through the beauty. So science and art can collaborate each other I think very well. But technology is also the different things. So because technology is a highly advanced technology, it's very difficult for the normal people to use. And also technology, advanced technology has a kind of like a risk for all the society. So I just wonder, like, talking about science and technology all together. So maybe, I would like to ask the question about like each panelist perspective about how science and technology separately can like collaborate or each other for society.
Thank you so much. So maybe first, Asagawa-san, could you give your reaction how science and technology could collaborate in society?
Yeah, Imaizumi-san, that's very good question, good point. Because I just concerning about what the differentiation between culture, civilization. People talking about engineering, also those technologies and part of the civilization. But art is and also science and bit science is both. But art is very much culture. So that we really dedicated all the lot of civilization focus on. But in a way, that's going to be a very heavy and Anthropocene problem, is Capitalocene problem. So that in a way, we have to think about how I can make a balance. Because, it's quite important. But now I just make a visit in MIT very recently. And because MIT, people just make an MIT museum, but some guys just already visit. They just each kind of section, they put inviting the science as an artist to make an interesting kind of interventional artwork related. And some artists deal with genealogy, some artists make quantum physics, all these things, and they put it together because that's the says. And when put all the kind of very scientific result, also engineering kind of perspective, and not so many people come. We just put artworks there so people come. But I think MIT is a very kind of important also attention because MIT is very much kind of famous engineering. It is a point. So that how the kind of science kind of essence is could be connected to engineering. Now it's engineering everywhere. AI also our personal experience and also designed by engineering certain moment. So now it's inevitably we have to deny engineering, but how engineering to just controlling and connected a new technology. This is very important point. We have to put one kind of word is in between science and also and technology with engineering. So this is very important. In engineering part is we just more kind of human, also aesthetical, ethical kind of point is. But engineering is a quite key word. So that also I just also ask this others and panelists about this question.
Thank you so much, Hasegawa-san. Hayashi-san, could you maybe elaborate it from a business perspective?
The science and technology was very different field in 20th century and that time. But these days, it's getting closer each other because differentiated technology is sometimes related to the fundamental science understanding, right? Like a quantum is a good example. So without having the science part, the technology will not be competitive. Therefore, getting closer each other. The problem for the company is the investment for the new technology development or new science findings is huge, getting bigger and bigger, and even one big company cannot afford all the development. Therefore, collaboration of the science finding is very important. Therefore, universities will, combining all the interest from the companies, do the science is important. And the technology, some part, collaboration is important. How to differentiate becomes kind of product development. This is competitive part. So we don't collaborate each other with our product, their product, right? So that is my feeling from the business point of because of the huge investment. science and technology becomes closer and closer. And sometimes corporations do a lot of collaboration, like Netherlands semiconductor industry. They are doing a lot of collaboration in science and initial technology. They do together, then do separate development product. So.
Yes, thank you so much. Leslie Willemijn, would you also give your answer to Imaisumi's question?
Yeah, thank you for the question. I think also Angela talked about this, that there used to be like these hubs where engineers and artists work together, and they came with very interesting and new technologies like the floppy disk, and you said some other interesting things. And I think it's creative thinking that can push science as well. So, for example, quantum technology is a super abstract science, and even for the scientists themselves, it's probably very hard to explain what's happening. But creative thinking and different thinking, like artists have, can open up new, interesting questions, and also challenge the scientists themselves to think for about the topic from a different perspective. So I think society can contribute greatly from the collaboration between the two, inspire and question and challenge each other.
Thank you so much. Takeuchi, would you like to add the last thing of this panel discussion?
Okay, thank you. And thank you very much for very important and good question. And I agree with Hayashi-san. I don't think now we are able to separate science and technology. Those two are actually not separatable. Okay, and however, I think it is also very important to make ordinary people understood about science part. For example, quantum entanglement. I have a kind of speech at Riken Institute normal conference. Ordinary people joined, and one audience show up and asked me, "Oh, I have taken those interesting picture, and those should have been somehow related to entanglement." So entanglement, the word quantum entanglement is sometimes related to occultic issues, very dangerous. And so I would like to make ordinary people know about the real and proper things about most advanced science and technology. And I think that, I from the scientist viewpoint, I really want the artists join us and help us to have a good communication with ordinary people, including children. That's my answer.
Thank you so much. That was unfortunately already the last topic of this panel discussion.
May I add one final?
One final, really short.
Of innovation. Okay.
Okay, one final.
The innovation is not a technical technology matter. Okay. The technology is not driving innovation. Well, maybe very important piece of the innovation, but not all. So in the 20th century, innovation is defined as economical growth. Somehow you can create economical growth tremendously. That is innovation. Maybe technology plays very important role. Okay, but now that innovation is enough with just economical growth? Maybe not, right? People's consensus, or people feel happier, or social responsibility, all combined, ethical part too. That should be the innovation in the 21st century. So I bring the very small example. This is my water bottle, just a piece of plastic, you say. But this is actually our product, the Tomoega's product, working with an engineer in Fukui Prefecture. That the company is Mohai. Okay. So this top is not a plastic, it's a cellulosic resin. Okay, why that is? Because looks nicer, but that ages with you. Okay, if you buy the plastic bottle, the first shape is the best quality, best performance, right? If you scratch it, this is not good, and maybe buy a new one. But try to make this part is ageable, how to say. Maybe with you for many years, maybe scratches your history. So that is made from cellulose. So see, something like this kind of product concept is important. Okay, this is not a big business, but maybe some example, what kind of business we need to aiming for. So that is final end also. It's gonna be commercialized tomorrow. If you want to buy, please check the internet. And actually, I bring the gift to all the panelists.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
See, I'm a businessman. Thank you very much.
Thank you all for providing us with your interesting perspectives. I think there's way more we would like to talk about, but unfortunately, there's no time left. We would like to thank you very much for being here and sharing your perspectives with us today. And we would also like to give you a gift from the Netherlands this time.
It's so great. Yeah.
This thing.
So lovely.
Yes, it's from the Rijksmuseum. It's Delft.
Thank you.
Yeah, Japanese people.
Yes, yes, espresso cups from the Netherlands in Delft's blue color. So now you have two ways to drink your coffee and water.
Good.
Yes, thank you so much for being here today. We will soon go do the Netherlands tour, the pavilion tour all together. But first, I would also like to thank our partners who have been helping us in supporting this mission of us here in Japan. Thanks a lot to Tino again and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Quantum Delta, Knowledge Capital, Nippon Express, and the TU Delft, and the Netherlands Pavilion, and the Expo itself. So yeah, we will can all leave our stuff here, do the pavilion tour, and then we will be back here to have some lunch and discuss more afterwards. So thank you so much.
We will first get one picture. Yeah. Goed gedaan. Lekker geklikt. Mag ik... oh ja, kan natuurlijk niet. Er staan ook foto's op. Ik vind het gewoon heel jammer. Ik vind het ook. Ja.